Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kasia's Voice again. Today, I have a treat for you. I am with my fabulous friend, Michael. Hello, darling.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, he you live in Fort Lauderdale yourself, yes?
Yes, I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay, and look at the view behind him. And he has a fabulous house with a
Here, let me just like,
pool.
there's
Oh
the
my God.
pool.
Right. Just absolutely stunning.
Coming to you poolside from
That's
Fort
it.
Lauderdale. Weather's gorgeous.
That's
Gorgeous.
it. I'm so jealous. Also, now I'm in Florida myself as well. So I've
Yeah.
been enjoying it. So great. The water. Oh my God.
Well,
The ocean.
But you're from San Diego.
Oh,
You
yeah.
also have beautiful weather like year round.
I can't
San
complain.
Diego's-
I can't.
San Diego's such a beautiful city. The weather is so amazing there. It's beautiful.
Yes. I mean, we both live in fabulous places, right?
We both live in paradise. It is true.
We can't really complain. So today, the two of us are going to be talking about the first competition, right? That you went to, right?
Yes.
So Michael's going to be sharing with us the experience of how was it from a teacher perspective, from the student perspective, what was the first experience going to the competition during this crazy time. So I give the voice to you, my darling.
All right. So we're here in Fort Lauderdale. Like we said, I have a studio. It's called Eugene Oliver Ballroom. And we're very busy. I'm very busy with my #1 student, Elaine Krieger, and she's currently very proud of all her hard work this year. She's currently #1 on the Dance Vision leaderboard, and she's also currently #1 on the Dance Board Series leaderboard.
Well, congratulations. That's fabulous.
Thank you so much. We've worked very hard, and she put in the hours and the hard work and the coachings, and I'm just very proud of all her hard work. So when the shutdown came, we decided that we wanted to keep dancing. She wanted to keep dancing. We did it because as we went forward, through this unknown territory, like all of us, we discovered that we really needed something every day so that we could feel like we were still normal, because everything was so different.
Yes.
So we committed to a 6 and 7 day practice schedule so that we could have just a moment, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of our day every day where we went to the studio. We didn't talk about what was going on outside. We just came in, we played music, we worked on our dancing, we worked on our coaching. We had all these coaching notes that we needed to work on. So we got busy and we dug in and we decided, hey, we didn't really plan, we were very freestyle-y in our nightclub dances. Let's plan some, let's plan some more choreography for that so we can be a little more competitive, a little more show ourselves off in a little higher way. So we retooled a lot of our patterns and our choreography. We worked on choreography in all 4 styles. So we got a lot of work done and we were very proud of it. But of course, we are competitive dancers and we were dying to get back out there.
Well, that's the thing, because I think so many of us are so used to having, right, kind of like what you guys have done. You've been going to the competition, right? And that's the part, like you're training yourself, you're getting better with the goal in mind, right? There's a competition. There's something we're going to showcase what we've done. And I think this whole COVID situation kind of put a damper on all of this, right? We're at standstill and no one knows, how is this going to go? And then, of course, the limitations on how many people we could have in the ballroom, with the hotels being only, I think, at 20% of capacity, right?
Yes.
In the room, in the whole hotel. I mean, it's just a little bit crazy. So you guys were pretty fortunate that our mutual friend Tommy DiTomaso actually ran his competition, right? Originally was supposed to be.
And we were very excited. We really didn't think, because we had such high numbers in Miami-Dade County and Fort Lauderdale is Broward County. We had such high COVID numbers, so we really didn't expect that the first competition in the world would be here in Florida. We really didn't, because Florida was a designated hotspot. So we were very surprised and, of course, very excited. And so we said, okay, let's do this. And but we were wondering, we were like, okay, how's it going to be? And is that going to be as fun as it normally is? And, we have questions of the unknown.
Oh,
Yeah.
Totally.
And I have to tell you, I honestly was, I mean, I'm kind of like I'm kind of like a optimist through pessimism. Like I plan for the worst and then I hope for the best, you know?
Right.
So I was just kind of like, okay, if this happens, you know, because us teachers and organizers and studio owners, we have an obligation to, you know, make sure the event goes beautifully for the students.
Oh,
And
mm-hmm.
and also now we have this added level of we have to make sure that it's safe as well. So this
Correct.
is kind of upping the ante for all of us in this business. And I have a very strict policy of safety. You know, whoever I'm working with now that my students are coming back to my studio.
Correct.
You know, during the first 2 months, I was only working live in person with Elaine. That's it. And then I was doing some FaceTime lessons, and that was kind of like an interesting learning curve as well. So I'm very careful about what my students are up to, what their safety levels are, what their comfort levels with safeties are. You know, if they need me to wear a mask, if they want to wear a mask. I mean, like, we talk about all this stuff. So because we want everyone to feel safe. All right.
I think that, like you're just saying, a big factor right now is the safety and the trust, right? I mean, it always had that element, our industry, right? That we have that element built in as we travel with our clients, as we go into the competitions. But now with this virus, right? Some people are a little bit more scared, some people are less scared. So now it's kind of making sure that we deliver to the level that they can handle it, right? Some people, like you said, want to wear a mask, and then so we wear the mask, right, to make them feel safe and okay. Some people are a little bit less strict, like in Florida. I've noticed that, you know, there are some places no one wears a mask, and there are some places everybody wears a mask, right? And you just want to make sure that you're respectful of each other's space, of each other's comfort zone. That's a huge element, absolutely. So at the competition it's called Fort Lauderdale Classic, but unfortunately, I think the limitation of how many people could be in the ballroom were very restricted in Fort Lauderdale. So I believe Tommy have moved to the competition to Tampa, right?
Yes. Obviously the northern part of our state opened up sooner. They have less. They just went into their opening, their
opening
second, and third phase openings before we did here in Broward County. We're still not. You know, I heard that they're planning one in Miami in July, so we're crossing our fingers to see if that happens here. But we're just moving a little slower than the north of us, so that's why I went to Tampa. Now I have to say, we're pulling into Tampa. We're from Broward. It's very strict here in Broward. People are wearing their masks. People are, really being safe here. I mean, living here, we've got our numbers under control, and I feel like everybody is really following protocols here. And then we went to Tampa. We didn't know what to expect. So we have a personal policy. I'm like, we've discussed this, and I'm like, look, I'll be wearing a mask. My first thing is to keep my students safe. I'm wearing a mask. If I don't wear a mask, how can I expect anybody else to wear a mask? I have to set a good example. So that's my personal policy as a studio owner. The second thing, we pulled in, and everybody, it was wonderful. People were there. They were, the staff was wearing a mask. There's obviously no one in the hotel. There was very few people in the hotel that we personally saw that weren't associated with the event. So that was kind of nice, I have to say.
Because it was,
I mean, some of it was honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn with the restrictions, because some of the restrictions were kind of nice, like I liked being in the hotel and it was just us, and everybody, they were wearing their masks, and all the judges were wearing their masks. All the staff for the event were wearing their masks. We came in, we were spaced out from people. Our tables, it was a huge ballroom. The tables were very far away from each other. We actually, notes from the student and teacher, we enjoyed being at our own table. And we dance so much, we do so many heats that we actually prefer to enter onto the ballroom floor from our table, and that was the policy. There was no gates, so they were gonna sit up there on the raised podium, and they are gonna control it from there. And there was one point where we did miss a heat, and they stopped and they said, you know, like, Michael and Elaine, can you come on the floor? And then they started the heat again, and it went very smooth. It was very comfortable. At no time did I feel
so there was
like
no
people were too
on
close
deck
to us.
area. There was no on deck. Everybody could enter from their.
No on deck.
Okay.
No on deck.
Okay. So everybody had a little bit more space. So I guess the only thing is you really have to pay attention to your heats, right? Which
Absolutely.
we always do, but because there is no on deck, right? The teachers
But
as well.
they had a heat number, you know, like a digital readout.
Okay, great. So you always
in front of them
mm-hmm.
that said the heat. You know, sometimes when you're at a competition, they have those on the video screens and stuff. Sometimes they're not quite accurate. And that's a problem for the teacher. But, you know, at this particular event, that number was always right on the money because it was in lieu of the gate. I mean, honestly, some of the things that are happening, I really liked. I felt like it ran very nicely. It was very understandable. I wasn't, you know, like, oh my God, what heat is it? You know, like, you know how, you know, the teacher, you know, you're doing a million things at once and trying to get out there and dance beautifully. And it is challenging when the schedule is like, you know, hopscotchy and they don't run a whole style, you know, they don't run around together, you know, it becomes very popcorny. It's very hard for us teachers to understand it. And it just went really smoothly. And we were just really happy to be there. We did a ton of dancing.
So can I ask, were you wearing the mask when you were dancing or no?
No masks while dancing. We tried it in, you know, because there were some events that were saying that was potentially going to happen. And we tried it in practice and we were like, you know, we can. I mean, we danced 173 dances at that one day, and we danced all 5 sections. So we did you know, we did ballroom, Latin, smooth, rhythm, and a full nightclub section. So for us, and as much as we danced, the mask thing, it just was not going to work on the floor. So I mean, we were planning our schedule accordingly. Like I think Virginia State just canceled their event. Unfortunately, we really were looking forward to Virginia State.
Yes.
But I think that was one of the things that was a tipping point for them, was that they were going to require masks on dancers on the dance floor. And they just felt like, as organizers, that really wasn't going to work.
Right. Like I'm in Florida right now, and the staff is required to wear the mask. So we are wearing the mask, and it does get complicated, right? Because I mean, you are almost like suffocating, especially, I mean, if you're just talking, that's one thing. But then once you start moving, and especially when you start moving to music, it's really tough. So what I end up doing, I end up wearing the shield when I'm just coaching. When I'm actually doing a choreography, the mask is a little bit easier because it's closer to your face, right? But going back and forward, because with the shield, you actually can breathe. With the mask, it's a little bit tricky. So I totally agree, to run the whole competition for all these dancers to wear a mask, that's a little tricky. And then, so you said the ballroom was big enough, everybody had enough space, you did not feel like you were breathing on each other's neck all the time. And then
not at all. I mean, I really don't. And it was interesting because I felt like, you know, when you're out on the floor dancing, you know, you're going to have to navigate past people and people are going to run into each other. And it was very interesting that I felt like traffic went much better on the floor than ever. I mean, I don't remember even colliding with anybody even once in any of those styles. I mean, everybody's spacing was great on the floor. I just think everybody, from the dancers, the dancers to the teachers to the staff, I just think everybody did such a great job, you know, giving us space and allowing us to be out there. It really went well. I mean, it was super comfortable to do our dancing. I mean, of course, there were a couple times where there was kind of, you know, we were doing rhythm and we're like going forward, you know, we had those moments before, but other than that, it was really comfortable and everybody minded their space and moved around each other very well. And it was very nice, I have to say.
Right. I think right now everybody's so much more aware. So it actually helps with the floor craft that no one is just pushing through, right? Also, there was probably less people on the dance floor in each heat, right? There was not as crowded. Did
Yeah,
you?
I mean, we didn't have any heat, so certainly, um, I don't know. I wasn't really counting. I mean, like I said, the ballroom, it was like a championship size ballroom floor. I mean, it was humongous. So that was one thing that there was just no worries. I mean, they could have put more people on and it still wouldn't have been a traffic problem for
Okay,
us.
that's right.
But
So
at
you had enough space.
no time was there too many people. Yeah, at no time did I feel there were too many people on the floor. You know, and one of the things that was so nice about us entering from our tables is that since we're not coming out of the gate, you know how when you come out of the gate, you're going to pick a spot to be on the floor. You're either going to walk to the far side or whatever. And, you know, people have tendencies, you know, they tend to kind of come out and be in a clump, you know, because
Right.
they don't want to walk too far or whatever.
They want
But
to go
because
to.
we were all coming from the floor from our tables, everybody just kind of arrived on the floor evenly spaced for each heat, especially for ballroom and
Great.
smooth. And it worked really well. I mean, I highly, like, if organizers want to take a note out of this playbook, I highly recommend it for ballroom and smooth because it worked really well for spacing. It really did.
Right. It just, sometimes, I mean, we like the on deck because we can have a little bit more control who is ready, who is not ready. Because I feel like right now with this whole COVID, everybody's more aware. And because we're so hungry, everybody's trying to follow the rule, make sure, kind of like what we were saying, that everything runs smoothly. And I think previously, the teachers and everybody was so relaxed. We needed someone to always go, come on, let's pay attention, right? And right now we take that responsibility. The students take a little bit more responsibility, the teachers, right? So it seems like it's a collective
It is.
responsibility to make sure that we all enjoy, we give each other respect. Did you feel that it was taking longer to check in because of the spacing, or did you feel like everything was smooth? Did you guys have to keep the 6 feet distancing as you are checking in, or there
Well,
was?
yeah, you're supposed to. We always get there the day before really early because we like to like get to bed and we always have an early start the next morning. So, there was really not anybody in line with us when we checked in, and that's usually the case because honestly, I'm usually the first one at check-in.
Got it.
Because of just the nature of our program. We're like the first ones there and we're the first ones to bed, and
Mm-hmm.
because we have a big day and we don't mess around. We don't get in and party or go out to eat or anything like that. We just get to the hotel and we go to our rooms.
Right. And could you tell me the experience with the hotel? Were the restaurants open that you guys can comfortably, you know, go to have your lunch and dinner? Was the room service available? How was the experience
Restaurants
at the hotel? Mm-hmm.
restaurants were not open in the hotel. So
Oh,
there was no, when you check into that particular condition, and it's not the same, it depends on each region and what their requirements are, but the restaurant was not open. There was no room service available, and there was no maid service. Once you checked in, there was no maid service.
okay.
So that as a safety precaution for, I guess, everybody, so that you didn't have people in your room that potentially could have germs, and then they also, so that the staff doesn't have to go into
Okay,
a
you
room
know what?
that.
I've experienced the same thing. I am in the hotel right now, and the room is nicely set. Everything was clean, and they actually have a seal on the door, right, to know that the room is set for me. Once I open, you break the seal, and there is no maid service as well, right? I think for the time
Correct.
that you stay, you probably can call if you need something. Like I needed extra towels, but again, I went down and pick it up, and they give it to me in the bag, so there was no, the towels were not just hanging there exposed to
Yeah.
anyone. So it feels like even the hotels are trying to keep everything very safe. Like you can see that everybody's wiping the tables, even like
Yeah.
the machine that you are swiping your card, it's always, so it seems like everybody's trying to do their best to make sure that we are all safe and protected.
They are, and I felt like it was very safe things. I don't mind. I'm not a very messy hotel person. Like everyone teases me because if they ever come to my room, they're like, "Oh my God, this is the cleanest hotel room ever." Because like I'm that guy. Like if things are messy, I start to get frantic, and I can't find things, and it makes me nervous. So my room is always like everything's put away, everything's in its place. And so I don't mind that. Nobody needs to come in my room. I can even make my bed if I
Yes, I
the
mean, you know, we
spirit
get so
moves.
spoiled. We get so spoiled
Yeah,
because no one needs to have their towels being cleaned every single day. Like just dry them
no.
at the house. We
Yeah,
don't clean towels
I
every
can
day.
hang up my towel. I can make
Oh
my
yeah,
bed if I want to
totally,
see them.
totally,
I mean,
totally.
I do like going to the event and coming back to a clean room. I love that.
Oh,
I love my room to be clean for me. I mean, I am a clean room kind of guy. But you know what? If that's what needs to happen, so people who are at the hotel feel safe, and people who are working at the hotel feel safe, then I'm all for it. You know, they
yeah.
did have Starbucks open in the lobby, and I do remember. You know, normally I don't like to go to Starbucks because Starbucks is a little slow. You know, Starbucks, you're going to stand in line, and, you know, I just don't love standing in line. I'm just one of those people. And they were fast. Like, there was a big line when I came into Starbucks, and, you know, we were all 6 feet away from each other. And I was very impressed. I was like, wow, they really have it together here. Because we did not have to stand in line, and we did not have to stay in there very long. It was very fun. My compliments to the Hilton Tampa for their fast Starbucks service.
That's great. I mean, because, you know, there's a thing that's a concern, like even for me when I was traveling here to Florida, right? So I'm assuming you guys just drove, right? You did not have to fly, right? Because it's pretty close. But for me
Yeah.
coming from San Diego to Florida, I have to fly and I was a little bit concerned, you know, how is the flying going to be? And it was very smooth. Like it was very easy. Now, of course, because there is less people traveling, right? The lines are not that big, but it seems restaurants are very efficient. Not every restaurant is open, but there is enough service. People are wearing the mask at the restaurant. Also, the people traveling, you're wearing the mask when you're close by. When you're farther away, you are okay to take the mask off. On the plane, you're supposed to wear the mask the whole time. When you're eating, you can take it off. So, you know, everybody's wiping their hands. Everybody is being as safe for themselves and for being respectful to other people. So it's not as scary because I was thinking, oh my God, are you going to feel like it's dangerous to be out there? And the traveling seems very easy. The checking into the hotel was pretty easy. There is a little bit less staff everywhere. So there's less people, you know, handling and touching your luggage, which is great. Right. So we have to take a little bit more responsibility for taking care of ourselves. Like even what we talked about it a few minutes ago, taking care of your room, right? And we have to make sure that we keep the room clean, right? Because there is no one coming in and servicing us all the time. But so it's a little bit more work, but therefore we are a little bit having a less contact with people outside, which is great. So the staff is protected, we are protected. So it feels like it's a pretty safe environment. Yeah.
It is. And you know, I want to tell people that, you know, like, you know, am I scared and concerned? Is it scary? Yes, it's scary. You know, you know, I was asking my husband, you know, I check in with Jason all the time because, you know how when you're just off in your own little world, you make decisions, and sometimes you're like, oh my God, is this a good decision? And you got to check in. I'm so fortunate to have a wonderful husband who is very involved in my life, in my business, and my goals. And so he's very on top of what I'm doing, and he has opinions about it, and he will check me when he feels I'm going off the rails, which is what I need, you know, because I want free to create and dance and choreograph and do all the things that I do, and I don't really want to have to check myself. So we have this wonderful kind of business relationship. And I said, oh God, do you think I'm crazy? Like I said yes to doing this and going to the first competition. And, you know, I was a little scared of the unknown. I mean, I don't want people to think that, I mean, I think I'm a kind of a fearless guy. And I think, you know, certainly once I get in my lane, I'm definitely fearless. Like nothing really scares me. But I was concerned, and I don't want people to think that I wasn't concerned. We are all scared. We all need to sit with that. We all need to honor that fear, because I think that fear is a valuable thing. You know, it's what will keep us safe. So I'm making the best decisions that I can. I'm making the safest decisions as I can, and I'm going out there and I'm doing it, and because I want to, and my student wants to. You know, if she didn't want to, I would be like, okay, let's just stay here and practice. You know, because
Exactly.
that's important that we
do have to take
decide that as well.
because Yeah, it is a serious virus. It's there affecting people. And kind of like what we mentioned before, we have to look at what are the risks, what's your comfort zone that you're comfortable with, and together, not just you, but your family. You have kids, you have husband, you have grandchildren. So of course, we take all of this under consideration, and then trusting one another, right? You're trusting your student so that your student is safe, not just with you, but when she goes out in the world, right? That she takes all the precautions, and she trusts you that you are doing the same thing. So when you guys get together, you already have the trust that you're not just crazy, right? And being, uh,
Absolutely.
you know,
I mean, we definitely had to come to that agreement early on. I said part of us continuing to be in the studio together with, you know, no masks on. I mean, we were together when during the shutdown. We went to First Coast Classic. We went to First Coast. That was the last competition that was allowed to be held. Everything else got canceled after that. We were headed to Sarasota, and then they canceled it. So everything got canceled. So we were at the last competition. So we were already kind of exposed to each other. We had been traveling during the epidemic outbreak. So we made that decision to continue to be natural around each other, you know, not wear masks when we're together. But we also had to have that very important conversation of, well, who are you with outside of this?
yeah, exactly.
And, you know, and we had to commit to not being around other people so that we could continue being around each other in that way.
Correct.
And I think that was a very, very important conversation. And it takes a lot of trust. And it, you know, because I have to trust that she's doing her part, keeping herself safe when she's not in the studio. And she also has to trust that I'm doing my part as well. And, you know, I have a husband at home. He was not going around anybody. He stayed in the house and saw no one for 3 months. I'm the one going outside of the house and potentially exposing myself to this danger. So I have a commitment to not bring it home to my family as well. So there's just a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of decisions safety decisions have to be made. And I would just say, don't be afraid to admit that you're scared. Because that's the first part. That's the first part of actually having authentic conversation about safety. Because I think I see it a lot, the people who are like, I'm not scared, let's just do this. You know, I'm not gonna wear a mask. I'm like, I don't really believe that they're not scared. I really don't.
Right,
I think that they're really just not dealing with it.
And you know what? And some people,
I'm like, oh, okay, if you're not scared, I'm scared of you. You know.
Right. So I totally agree. You have to be a little bit more open about the feelings, right? And then develop the trust. And if you don't trust someone, that becomes definitely an issue. And I think going to the competitions, right? Our clients will have to trust us as an organizers. We're gonna look to create, we're going to be committed to creating an environment that's going to be safe, that's going to be protective, that we're going to respect how you feel, we're going to be looking after your safety. And I think that though that's probably going to be a big element of, you know, our clients, our teachers, our students coming to the competitions, believing in the organizer that this is really what we're committed to. So I think, you know, that's a huge part. Not just is the competition going to be fun, but is it going to be safe? Can we trust one another, right? Because as much as we would like the students and the teachers to trust us, we also need to trust them, right? Because as much as you want to be safe, we want to be safe as well as the organizers, right? So it has to go both ways. Totally.
Well, yeah, and people are trying to. I mean, there's a lot of opinions out there about mask wearing or not mask wearing. There's some political opinions about it. I can tell you, my decision to wear a mask has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with my my wanting to keep myself safe, wanting to keep my family safe, and also being respectful. That knowing that I'm traveling, that if I was to catch something, that my mask would protect anybody else
Exactly.
from
Correct.
from me getting it. So when I wear my mask, I wear it for many reasons, none of which are political. I'm not making a statement with it, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable by me wearing a mask. I'm wearing it for safety reasons only, to keep people I'm near safe from me and keep myself and my students and my studio safe and my family safe.
I mean, and there's the thing, it's keeping you safe as well as making sure that everybody around. So it's, we have to be not just being selfish for ourselves, but for the goodness of everybody around, right? And of course we have, you know, the governor of each state, or, you know, the give us some guidelines, right? And unfortunately, we do have to follow as a business owners, studio
Yes.
owners, or competition owners. There are some rules that we do have to obey, and we're hoping that our clients will understand and respect that as well, right? For us to be able to keep those competitions or even studios running. Yes, and it just a
Absolutely.
mutual respect for one another. I think that's really what comes down to.
Absolutely. I mean, us old warhorse gay men, we have a little bit of an advantage because we had to think all this through when we were faced with headed into the AIDS age in the 80s, and the AIDS and HIV outbreak, and we had to think about these things. We had to think about our circle of exposure. You know, when it first broke out, we didn't know exactly how you got it, just like we're still trying to figure out exactly how, you know, COVID is transmitted.
Correct.
I mean, our community went through this. We made these decisions. We had to all make our own personal safety decisions. And we went through people judging us because of what we were doing or not doing. We had gay men judging us inside the gay community. We had the outside community judging us. Because it was found out, like it was thought that it was transmitted sexually, you know. So we already kind of know how to do this. We know how to be thoughtful about our circle of exposure. We know how to be thoughtful about who we not only expose ourselves to, or in conversely, in the event that we would get sick, expose others to. So we have a little bit of an advantage of the way
you can share
so
that experience.
Ask your gay friends how to do this, because we already know.
Right, we already deal with that situation. Well, thank you, Michael. You've been so awesome. I love talking to you.
I love talking to you.
I'm so glad you guys were brave to go to competition, and you know, with all the precautions that you are taking for yourself and for your students and for everybody around. And thank you for sharing all these information with us. That's so great.
Absolutely. I'm happy to share. I'm so excited to be out there. Yes, it is scary. There's a scary. I'm happy to be out there. I want to be out there. We're
totally
to go to North Coast competition in Cleveland, Ohio. We're so excited to be doing this. So if you ever want to ask me back, tune in, notes. I'm sure every competition is going to be a little different, and hopefully everything will go as smoothly as the first one in the world by Tommy and Pam. And oh my God, they were amazing. They're amazing hosts, and they did it so well. You know, they really, I'm so proud of them and happy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was so happy to see that it went well, that everybody was happy. I mean, that was a big deal for the first one because it's so unknown. Yeah, so that was, I'm so glad that they organized it. You were able to be there. So unfortunately, I will have to let you go, but we have to bust the move, because every interview that we do, every little conversation, right, I will play for us. I feel happy because we are happy that we can go back to dancing, because that's what gives us joy. And we just have to bust the move. So let me play a song for us. Can you hear it?
Yes.
I'm happy. I feel happy. You are fabulous, my darling. Keep on inspiring people. I'm so looking forward to seeing you in person. Bye, my darling.
I know. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Okay, totally.